A group of extraterrestrial spacecraft floated aimlessly in a far-off region of the galaxy, their once gleaming hulls marred by dents and scorch scars. Scars from battle. The mechanics worked feverishly to repair the damage and bring the ancient systems back to life on board the damaged ships due to conflicts with rival species and the perils of deep space. But one system after another sputtered and died despite their best efforts. They were out of their depths. This technology was outdated, and the tools were primitive by their standards. The chief mechanic of the Zorian fleet, Crystal, made the drastic suggestion to seek assistance from an unlikely source, the humans, when frustration and despair hung heavy in the recycled air. The humans spluttered his assistant, Trixel, those hairless apes from the backwater planet. What could they possibly know about fixings or Black and SH? Kick's soul's complex eyes stared at him. He said slowly, as though he didn't believe it himself, "I've heard rumors that human mechanics can fix anything, that they have a magic touch." Trixel. He scoffed, but as the warning lights on each console kept blinking urgently, he realized they had nothing to lose, so he reluctantly turned on the long-range communicator to call the closest human repair station. Humans responded enthusiastically and promptly, "Giving us your locations right away. Our mechanics will arrive sooner than you can save hyperdrive thanks to the voice over the subspace static." Xel had some reservations. By Zorian standards, hyperdrives were infamously slow, but within a glimpse, a small fleet of human ships dropped out of warp near their coordinates. The ships were plain and small, but they buzzed with energy and purpose next to the alien fleet's grandeur, and from the largest one came a motley crew of humans wearing grease-stained coveralls and utility belts brimming with odd tools. The principal human mechanic, a tall, lanky man with a burst of red hair, strode forward and firmly seized KXL's appendage. "Give a shake. My name is Mac. Mechanic of the Orion Repair Corps," he added, his smile twisted. Before Xel could react, the human mechanics spread out over the ships like ants, scurrying into maintenance ducts and access hatches with a recklessness that bordered on fearlessness. Then, the most amazing thing happened. The ships started to come back to life. Their lights flickered, their engines rumbled, and the readout returned to its default settings. However, the humans weren't done yet. They emerged with armloads of fried circuits and burned-out components, only to disappear back inside with shiny new parts in less than a quarter of a glimpse. The ships were purring like newborn. Zor lets every system operate at peak efficiency. Xel and his team were limited to staring at Slack. "I'm in awe of how you accomplished it." Max strolled forward, cleaning his hands with a cloth as Kurt sputtered. Mackie shrugged and said, "When you get right down to it, your ships ain't so different from ours when you get a little know-how and elbow grease." He was happy to lend a helping hand with a cheerful wave. The humans had left behind more than just fully functional ships. They had left behind awe and hope as the alien fleet hobbled back to their home systems, and KXL and Trixel couldn't stop talking about the humans and their amazing abilities. There were mechanics out there who could do miracles, and if you were fortunate enough to discover them, there was no repair. Word swiftly passed from ship to ship and from species to species. No spacecraft was too large or too tiny for JW to save. Gradually, more alien ships started looking for human repair stations, and each one returned with the same tale of a race with a unique talent, a magic touch, that could persuade even the most obstinate initially. There was only a trickle of the odds Orlean freighter here, a quick Soren cruiser there, but as word spread, the trickle turned into a flood, and soon the human stations were bustling hives of activity with a cacophony of clanging tools, whirring engines, and a babble of alien languages. The legend of the human mechanics had started, and news of the humans' amazing repair skills spread like wildfire throughout the galactic community. Alien ship after alien ship started to limp drift or occasionally even enthusiastically zoom into the human repair stations scattered throughout the cosmos. The humans took it all in stride. No matter how strange the ship, how foreign the technology, they dove in with gusto. They pried open access panels, traced intricate wiring looms, and tinkered with exotic propulsion systems, and somehow through a combination of intuition, experimentation, and sheer stubborn determination, they always seemed to find a solution across the galaxy. Alien mechanics washed in awe and no small amount of envy. They marveled at the humans' unorthodox methods, the way they would jury rig a burnout component with scrap metal and a spot welder, or reprogram a malfunctioning UI with little more than a screwdriver and a stern. Talking to some of the more open-minded aliens tried to learn these techniques. They hovered over the human shoulders, taking copious notes and asking endless questions, but no matter how hard they tried to replicate the human results, they always seemed to fall short. There was something about the way the humans approached a problem, a certain creative spark that couldn't be quantified or taught. As the human reputation grew, so did their influence. Manufacturers of extraterrestrial ships started incorporating human design aspects onto their most recent versions. Human repair techniques were included into the curriculum of galactic engineering schools. There were rumors of a black market for tools and replacement parts created by humans, but not everyone was pleased with the new situation. Some of the more established alien races, who had long taken pride in their technological prowess, started to feel threatened and complained about upstart primates stealing their business by using cheap showmanship and parlor tricks. Some even went so far as to start sneak campaigns spreading rumors that human repairs were poor quality and short-lived, that their stations used inferior materials, and that they cut corners to maximize profit. However, no matter how hard they tried to damage the human image, they couldn't argue with the results, as ships that limped and on their last legs always seemed to rocket out under their own power, running better than new, and the alien customers weren't shy about sharing their experiences. Soon after, the cosmic.net was flooded with positive comments and reviews. There are stories of human mechanics going above and beyond to make a ship spaceworthy again. For example, the Rillian transport was nearly written off after a nasty run-in with a meteor swarm, but a team of human mechanics worked around the clock to rebuild it from the Killip or the Archer and probe ship that had been lost in the uncharted reaches of the Orion Arm. One human mechanic even managed to jury-rig its navigation system using only a star chart and a seat. Tales like these only served to burnish the humans' legend. Slowly but surely the galaxy was coming to realize that when it came to fixing ships, nobody did it better than the humans. It wasn't just their technical skills impressive, though those were. It was their ingenuity, their tenacity, their sheer bloody-minded refusal to give up on a ship no matter how far gone it seemed. And so the ships kept coming, battered freighters, sleek luxury yachts, even the occasional warship, all seeking out that fabled human touch. The waiting lists grew longer, the repair stations more crowded, but the humans never turned a ship away. They were in this for the long haul, and they were determined to keep the galaxy flying one bolt at a time. Little did they know their biggest challenge was yet to come, for as their fame spread, so too did the attention of those who would seek to exploit their skills for less noble ends. The humans were about to learn that not every broken ship was a welcome sight, and not every customer have friendly intentions, but that, as they say, is a story for another day. ZYTH, a brilliant young engineer from the planet Soria, had always been fascinated by the legend of the human repair stations. He had heard several tales of their extraordinary feats, had studied every bit of technical information he could uncover, but until now, Zio's spacecraft was the only one he had ever seen in operation. It was a mess. Zoff knew that his only chance was to find the humans, and he found them on a small, unassuming moon on the edge of the Orion sector. The repair station was bustling with activity, with ships of all sizes docked in the expansive hangar base. The sleek Safarian scoutcraft had been severely damaged in a battle with a rival clan. The main propulsion system had been shot, life support was failing, and the entire thing was leaking atmosphere. A human technician called Jax met Zoff as he navigated his damaged vessel into an empty bay and got out, his pulse racing with a combination of excitement and fear. With a quick grin and a sparkle in his eye, Jax was a burly, grease-stained figure who listened carefully as Zoff described the issues with his ship, nodding wisely and sometimes making notes on a tattered "Don't worry, Dad, my pal. We'll have your ship back in combat condition quickly when Xylo completed, but I could use an additional set of hands," Jack replied. "Would you want to under-wrench?" Although he was an engineer and not a mechanic, Xylo was surprised by the chance to work with a human and discover their secrets firsthand. He enthusiastically accepted, and over the course of the following few days, he followed Jax as he worked on the Giron ship. He watched in wonder as the human deftly maneuvered the alien technology, seemingly understanding the purpose of every component intuitively. Jax demonstrated tricks and techniques to Xylo. He had never previously seen such unusual but very successful techniques for identifying and fixing even the most difficult issues, but Jax's mindset and manner were what really struck Zoff, not simply his technical prowess, JX handled each issue with a mix of ingenuity, dedication, and a good dose of irreverence. He did not see a damaged ship as a collection of malfunctioning parts, but rather as a puzzle that needed to be solved or a challenge that needed to be faced head-on. As they worked through the night, Jack stated that the secret is to not be scared to try something new. These ships are not as different as they appear. At the end of the day, they all operate on the same fundamental principles. You just need to discover the common ground beneath Jax's village. Zoff started to see his ship differently and started to take chances and think creatively, and gradually but surely, the ship started to come back to life after the repairs were finished. It was hard for Xylo to comprehend that his once disabled spacecraft was now a shining sparkling. The human just waved him away after seeing the spacecraft fly true once again, and that's all the recompense I need. Marvel of engineering, it looked better than it had the day it had rolled off the manufacturing line. Zeloth was bursting with thankfulness. Jack grinned and said, "Just promise me one thing when you get back to Zephyra. Share what you've learned and teach your people that there's always another way, always a solution if you're willing to look for it." He then blasted off into the stars with a final handshake, but he went with more than just a repaired ship. He brought a new understanding, a fresh view on innovation and problem solving, and upon his return to Zimbabwe, he fulfilled JX's request by sharing his experiences. He shared his newfound understanding with anybody who would listen, and he started to promote the human method because of its special fusion of inventiveness, perseverance, and non-conventional thinking. It was a small change, but it had far-reaching effects because by teaching his people to think like humans, Zoff had set them on a path to becoming one of the most advanced and respected engineering cultures in the galaxy. It all began with a broken ship, a chance encounter, and a willingness to learn from an unlikely source. Slowly but surely, the Xerian engineers started to adopt these methods, seeing problems not as insurmountable obstacles but as opportunities for innovation. As a result, they found their ships becoming more dependable, efficient, and capable than ever before. Sources Zoff got ready to return to his home planet of Zimbabwe. Jax, the human mechanic, had one last lesson to teach him. He said in a serious tone, "I've talked you a lot about how we humans approach repairs, but there's one more thing you need to understand our success." Jax had taken Zoff under his wing and shared with him the secrets of human ingenuity and problem solving. It's about how we think and see the world, not simply the methods we use. Jax continued, "We humans are a curious bunch, always asking questions, always poking and prodding at the world around us. We don't take things at face value, we look for the hidden meanings, the underlying patterns." Zoff leaned in eager to hear more. Over the past few days, he had grown to greatly respect Jax not only as a mechanic but also as a philosopher. Jax picked up a part from a burnout engine, turning it over in his hands. For instance, most people would see a piece of fried circuitry that should be thrown away, but I see potential and a chance to learn how to adapt so that something damaged may become something new. Zoff nodded slowly as he started to grasp that it's all about perspective and how some people see opportunities when others just see obstacles. Jack's face lit up as he said, "That's something you can apply to every aspect of life, not just fixing ships. When faced with a problem, don't just go for the obvious solution. Instead, take a step back and consider it from all angles." What if Jax's words resonated deeply with Zoff? He had always taken pride in his methodical, logical approach to engineering, but as he was getting ready to leave, he was beginning to realize that true innovation required something more, a spark of creativity and a willingness to take risks. Xylo expressed his gratitude to Jax for fixing his spacecraft and for the priceless lessons he had gained. Jax just smiled and gave him a shoulder clap, saying, "Just promise me you'll keep asking questions." He didn't need to thank me. Continue pushing limits, and you know where to come to me for assistance if you ever need it. When Xylo returned to Zimbabwe, he wasted no time in sharing his newly acquired knowledge. He gathered his fellow engineers, friends, family, and anybody else who would listen, and he told them about the human way. He showed them how to approach problems from new angles. Xylo's mind was buzzing with new ideas and possibilities, and he knew that Jax's lessons would stay with him forever, guiding him not just in his engineering work but in every aspect of his life. He taught them how to look for creative solutions in the most improbable places and urged them to try new things, take chances, and accept failure as a teaching moment. As word of Zillian's teachings spread, so did the Zirian reputation for innovation. At first, some were skeptical because the Zirian way had always been one of strict adherence to protocol and following established procedures to the letter. However, as they started to apply Salaf's teachings, they saw results. Their machines ran more smoothly, their processes became more efficient, and more than that, they found themselves approaching life with a new sense of curiosity and wonder. They started to see the world not as a set of fixed rules but as an endless series of puzzles to be solved. Zeloff couldn't have been more proud as he watched his people flourish and grow and witnessed the ripples of change spreading throughout the galaxy. Engineers from all over the galaxy were flocking to Zapia to learn from them and see firsthand how the human philosophy could be applied to their own work. He knew that he owed Jax and the other human mechanics a debt that would never be fully repaid, but he also knew that the best way to honor their gift was to keep passing it on, to keep inspiring others to think differently and see the universe through new eyes. Since he had learned how to not only restore a ship but also how to rebuild a planet, Zoff understood that his voyage and transformation had been worth every step. He also realized that the most effective tool of all was that as the human repair station's reputation rose, so would theirs. Humans were forced to labor around the clock, their tools never cooling, their coffee pots never emptying, and cargo spacecraft from all over the galaxy were now swarming to them, each one wearing the wounds of cosmic wear and tear. However, they were grumbling because the people they took pride in every ship they fixed, every engine they urged back to life, and every thankful alien they sent back out into the stars. This was more than just a job, it was a calling, an opportunity to truly impact the lives of innumerable alien beings. As their operations grew to accommodate the influx of new clients, the humans constructed new repair facilities. The once tiny outpost on the edge of the Orion sector became a hive of activity, a shining beacon of human ingenuity and determination. In addition to hiring new mechanics, Baze also set up satellite stations on distant moons and asteroids. After repairs were finished, alien crews would frequently stay behind and marvel at the efficiency of the human workers, who were representatives of countless worlds, each with its own distinct cultures and customs. As they interacted with the humans, they learned more about this fascinating species, their history, their values, and their future aspirations, and the humans learned from them. As more and more aliens passed through the human stations, friendships blossomed, alliances were formed, and even the occasional romance was sparked over a shared can of engine. In Greece, the humans found themselves becoming not only mechanics but also diplomats, cultural ambassadors, and even makeshift family members. They sampled exotic foods, spoke alien languages, and even incorporated elements of alien design into their constantly evolving repair techniques. It was a true exchange, a melting pot of ideas and perspectives, and at the heart of it all was a shared love of machines and the thrill of repairing something broken back together. Crews far from home, they celebrated alien holidays, mourned alien losses, became godparents to alien children born in the depths of space, and as these bonds deepened, so too did the ties between the human stations and the wider galactic community. Trade routes were established, treaties signed, joint ventures launched. The humans, once seen as a curiosity, a fringe species on the edge of relevance, were now becoming major players on the galactic stage. But with this newfound influence came new challenges. The humans now found themselves mediating disputes between alien factions, brokering peace deals between warring clans. Their repair stations became neutral ground, places where even the bitterest of enemies could come together in the name of a common goal. It was a heavy responsibility, but one the humans bore with their characteristic resolve. They knew that every conflict resolved, every deal struck, was another step towards a more united, more peaceful galaxy, and at the center of it all, tying it all together, were the ships, the constant flow of vessels, each one a microcosm of the vast tapestry of galactic life. The humans came to see them not just as machines, but as living things, each with its own unique personality and quirks. They gave them names, painted them with individualized markings, even held ceremonies to bless them before they ventured back out into the void. To the humans, These ships were more than just metal and circuits, they were extensions of the aliens who crewed them, embodiments of their hopes and dreams. And so as the ships continued to come, as the bonds continued to grow, the human repair state became something more than just a place to fix broken machines. They became a symbol, a testament to the power of cooperation, of finding common ground in the face of overwhelming diversity. It was a legacy that would endure long after the last ship had been repaired. The last bolt tightened, a legacy of unity, of understanding, of the unbreakable, the name of the species that made it all possible. The humans, the fixers of the stars, will be permanently inscribed in the annals of galactic history as the human repair stations gain prominence. Not everyone in the galaxy was ecstatic about their accomplishments. Ties that bind all living things together in the vast wondrous web of the cosmos. Some species, especially those that had long ruled the galaxy, started to see humans as a danger to their dominance and authority. The most prominent of these were the Zorgans, a technologically advanced race renowned for their skill in ship design and manufacturing. For centuries, the Zorans had been the undisputed rulers of the galactic shipbuilding industry, with ships known for their speed, durability, and sleek, unmistakable design. However, as more and more aliens chose to have their ships maintained by humans, the Zorans were beginning to feel the pinch. Their profits were declining, their market share was shrinking, and they weren't going to let some upstart primates from a backwater planet steal their thunder. To address the human issue, the Zorgan High Council called an urgent meeting and reviewed the data. Trends discussed tactics before deciding that if they couldn't defeat the humans at the repair game, they would cast doubt on them and damage their image by making them seem to be charlatans and scammers. The Zoran launched a smear campaign beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen, planting rumors in the whispered galactic media. Influential aliens even staged accidents and malfunctions to give the impression that human repairs were poor and untrustworthy. At first, the humans were caught off guard because they were mechanics, not politicians, and they didn't know how to handle a verbal and innuendo war. Instead, they kept their heads down and concentrated on their work, hoping that the quality of their craftsmanship would speak for itself. However, as the Zorgan campaign grew more intense, more aliens started to doubt human abilities, and they realized they couldn't remain silent indefinitely. They had to fight back, prove to the galaxy that their abilities were genuine, and their intentions were pure. They began by sharing their stories with their allies, the alien friends and partners they had made over the years, inviting skeptics to visit their workshops and see for themselves the magic the humans could perform. As the tide of public opinion began to turn, the Zorgan High Council became increasingly desperate and doubled down on their smear tactics, devoting even more resources to discrediting the humans. However, it was too late. The truth, as they say, was out there, and no amount of Zorgan spin could change the fact that the humans were the real deal. They weren't just fixing ships, they were forging bonds. Even some Zorgans, the younger, more progressive ones, started to question their leaders' tactics after witnessing the humans' dedication and ingenuity, telling stories of human kindness and compassion that went far beyond simple repairs. Constructing bridges to improve the galaxy one repair at a time, the Zorans were ultimately forced to concede defeat in the face of overwhelming evidence and slunk back to their factories and design labs, complaining about how unfair it was all and promising to return stronger and better than before. However, the humans simply continued doing what they did best, repairing ships, making friends, and spreading the message of understanding and cooperation. They knew that their work was bigger than any one race or rivalry. They were in it for the long haul, for the betterment of all galactic life, and no matter what obstacles lay ahead, no matter how envious rivals might try to stand in their way, they would continue to fix, mend, and bring the broken pieces of the. In a galaxy full of divisions and differences, the mechanics created the universe one ship at a time because that was the human way. They were the great healers and uniters of the cosmic rift, and nothing, not even cosmic catastrophes or Zorgan lies, could ever change that they were the fixers. They would continue to fix as long as there were ships to fix and aliens to make friends within the swiftly amazing expanse of the stars, just when the humans thought they had seen it all. They faced a new problem when a huge, unidentified spacecraft that was unlike anything they had ever seen hobbled into their main repair station while leaving a trail of smoke and debris behind. The ship was enormous, dwarfing even the biggest human facilities. As the human mechanics cautiously approached the vessel, they were greeted by a delegation of equally strange aliens, tall and slender with shimmering translucent skin and eyes that glowed with an inner light. The hull was a patchwork of strange alloys and pulsing energy fields, and its design was a dizzying amalgamation of organic curves and harsh angular planes. They introduced themselves as the Quantarius, known for their sophisticated technology and mastery of quantum mechanics and higher dimensional physics. The Quantarium were an enigmatic species that was seldom seen in the populous regions of the galaxy. However, one of their spacecraft was in dire need of repair. The ship's technology was incredibly complex, based on principles that defied conventional understanding. Its engines harnessed the power of collapsing singularities, its computer systems operated on the edge of the quantum realm for days, and the human mechanics, always on the lookout for a new challenge, set to work immediately. However, as they dug deeper into the ship's systems, they soon discovered that this was unlike anything they had encountered before. They tried every trick in their book and every unconventional technique they had picked up over the years, consulting with the Quantarium engineers, but nothing appeared to work. Jax, the seasoned mechanic who had once taught Xylo, had a flash of inspiration when he recalled something the young Zephyrin had told him about the value of looking at things from a different angle. The ship was still stubbornly unresponsive, its core systems locked in a cascade of quantum failures, and the humans were at their wits' end, faced with a problem that seemed truly unsolvable. Jax gathered his team, the brightest and most creative of the human mechanics, and instead of focusing on the ship's individual components, he urged them to look at the bigger picture, to try to understand the underlying principles that govern Quantarium technology. They delved into the ship's data banks, studied the intricate patterns of its quantum circuitry. They consulted with philosophers and theorists, seeking to grasp the fundamental nature of reality itself, and slowly, painstakingly, they began to make progress. They realized that Quantarium technology was not just advanced but fundamentally different. It operated on principles of uncertainty and probability, harnessing the strange counterintuitive laws of the quantum realm. With this new understanding, the humans began to adapt their methods. They developed new tools, new techniques, even a new language to describe the ship's inner workings. And bit by bit, component by component, they brought the quantum vessel back to life. Its engines thrummed with renewed power, its systems hummed with a strange otherworldly harmony. The Quantarius were ecstatic when the repairs were finally finished, because they had never met a species that could understand their technology, much less fix it. They saw in humans a race that was similar to them in their desire for knowledge and understanding, and as a thank you, the Quantarius gave the humans access to some of their most cutting-edge technology and their most profound scientific discoveries. It was an immeasurable gift and a priceless treasure. Trove of knowledge that would propel human understanding forward by centuries. But for the human mechanics, the true reward was the satisfaction of a job well done, of a mystery unraveled, and a challenge overcome. They had once again proven that there was no ship to alien, no technology too advanced for the ingenuity and determination of the human spirit. As the Quantarium vessel departed, its crew expressing their eternal gratitude, the humans knew that they had been part of something truly special. They had not just repaired a ship, but bridged a gap between worlds, between ways of understanding the universe. And as they watched the ship disappear into the stars, they knew that their legend would only continue to grow, for they were the fixers, the problem solvers, the ones who could make the impossible possible. They were the human mechanics, and there was no limit to what they could achieve together in the vast and wondrous expanse of the galactic frontier. Years turned into decades, and decades into centuries. The human repair stations, once a novelty, then a marvel, had now become an institution, an integral part of the galactic landscape. Their reputation had spread to every corner of the known universe, and beyond tales of their skill, their ingenuity, their compassion had become the stuff of legend, passed down from one generation of space stirrers to the next. And as the human mechanic continued their work, as they fixed and mended and healed, they began to realize that their impact went far beyond mere repairs. They were not just fixing ships, but lives, not just mending machines, but relationships. Every repair was a story on the stage of the stars, a drama unfolded, with rivalries resolved over a well and romances developed over shared engine grease. Wrench bonds were formed. In the heat of a plasma torch, lifelong friendships sealed with a bolt and a smile. The human stations have become more than just repair facilities. They were embassies, meeting grounds, places where the vast and varied tapestry of galactic life could come together and find common purpose. And at the center of it all, tying it all together, were the human mechanics themselves. They had come from humble beginnings, a rack-dagged bunch of grease monkeys and tinkerers, but through their skill, their dedication, their unrelenting curiosity. They had become something more. They were diplomats, mediators, the grease that kept the gears of the galactic machine turning smoothly. They were the go-to problem solvers, the ones who could find a solution to any challenge, no matter how daunting. And as their influence grew, as they became an indispensable part of the galactic order, the humans began to shape that order in their own image. They championed the values of cooperation, of understanding, of the power of diversity, and the strength of unity. They became the driving force behind great galactic projects under the leadership of the architects of a new and better future. Long-standing rivalries were forgotten. Species that had previously been fierce rivals found common ground. Shared dreams were discovered, and as a result, ships continued to arrive, from the sleek Zephyrin racers to the enormous bulk craters of the Gargants, from the ethereal solar sails of the Luminates to the chunky mining rigs of the asteroids. They all found their way to the human stations. Some came for repairs, others for upgrades, still others just to be part of the legend, to say they had been touched by the magic of the human mechanics. And each ship, each repair, became another thread in the vast tapestry of the human legacy, the legacy not of conquest or domination, but of healing, of bringing together, of making whole what was broken. It was a legacy that would endure long after the last human mechanic had laid down their tools, long after the last ship had been repaired and sent on its way. For the true power of the human stations was not in their machines or their tools, but in the spirit. They embodied the spirit of curiosity, of creativity, of the unrelenting drive to make things better, to leave the unit universe a little bit brighter than they found it. And so, as the human legend grew, as their story spread to every star in every world, they became more than just mechanics. They became a symbol, a beacon, a guiding light for a galaxy that had long been searching for its way. They were the fixers, the healers, the ones who had shown that even in the human legacy would endure as a shining testament to the strength of the wrench, the bolt, and the unbreakable spirit of a species that had dared to reach for the stars, and in doing so had touched the lives of countless worlds, because they were the human mechanics, the fixers of the galaxy, and their story was just beginning. It would be told and retold as long as the universe endured, a story of hope, of healing, and of the unwavering power of the human spirit. Even in the deepest reaches of space, there was always hope, a chance for repair, and a chance for renewal.